type in it again. Read it.
808-228-3441.
I definitely typed that in last time. Give it a couple of seconds. All right, here we go.
Has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying.
Let me text him.
Yeah, I don't want to be annoying. That time it kind of rang.
Oh, Canada.
But yeah, you should congratulate him. Just it's new news. He was getting. I saw him getting.
It's 11:30 in Hawaii right now, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
I think so.
but he told me.
You know time zone.
We also have Google.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
No,
Maybe I misread it.
Trust yourself. You know time. What time is it in Hawaii?
He said yes. Call.
All right.
Has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available. At the tone, please
Let them know we're getting a voice. And now it has changed to say dial
From our number from our end.
Oh, Canada.
That guy available? You think we can get him to do
I think he's decently successful. I mean, I could be wrong, but
Can we get a live rendition?
he says, "Send me your number."
310 570. He's one of your people. I always forget I have the do not disturb on. All right, here we go. Ready?
Unknown caller.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, this is Coach June Jones calling for Colby.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good, thank you.
I appreciate you making time for us, man. I know you've been. I know it's been busy. You were in Kona. How'd that treat you?
Yeah, it was good. I love it over there. It's my favorite place to go in Hawaii.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Appreciate you calling in, and we're ready to get started. Okay.
All right, awesome.
Joining us on the line, coaching legend himself, June Jones. We'll start there, Coach Jones. Congrats on getting inducted into the Ring of Honor for Hawaii there.
Yeah, that was a nice honor, and good to see a lot of old friends, and tried to get all my old coaches in the dinner too. So it was a lot of fun.
No, it sounds like a great time. When is there a plan? I know they keep talking about renovations. Are we going to get Aloha Stadium back up one day?
Yeah, one day. It's they're supposedly got it down to 2 RFPs, and I think they're choosing one the 3rd week in June. So I don't know how long it'll take, even if the bill passes, but it's going to be a while.
Coach, now you said you got a lot of old coaches back. You tried to get a lot of them all back to for your you being inducted into the Ring of Honor. Did that include you introduced me to Jerry Glanville, who is still coaching football, by the way, at 82 and will be 83, coaching at Northwestern Oklahoma State. But did you get him on the island?
No, he didn't. He didn't come. Anybody that was on the mainland, we didn't fly in, but all the local coaches that were here and were with me were there.
Gotcha. Do you still keep good in touch with Jerry Glanville?
Oh yeah, I talk to him a couple times a month usually. Yeah.
Is he still trying to meet up with Elvis? That was always the great legendary story. He'd leave the 2 tickets for Elvis there. Any word on whether or not he's going to meet up with Elvis?
I bring it up every now and then too. We laugh about it.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting deal, and he probably wishes we never left tickets for him.
Now he's 83 and coaching. June, look, you were undefeated in the XFL with the Houston Roughnecks. I don't know why the hell they didn't bring you back.
One
as
of the
head
greatest
coach.
teams we've
it
ever
doesn't make
seen.
any sense to me when I watch these spring leagues, and I know June Jones is out there. Maybe it's a personal decision from you, Coach, but what's it going to take to get you back into coaching?
Well, they changed a lot of things. I was asked to go to the XFL again for this season, but I decided not to do it. They cut all the salaries in half, took away medical insurance from the coaches. So I felt that was unfair. I have it all anyway. I don't need the job, but I was disappointed that the other coaches that were on my staff had to do that. So anyway, it just didn't interest me. I'm kind of in Hawaii, enjoying life, and at Mililani High School, I've been helping out there.
So speaking of living in Hawaii, enjoying life, I was doing some digging. Do you still golf barefoot? Because I saw a video of you driving barefoot. I mean, I have trouble with nice cleats and a decent driver. How do you golf barefoot? And do you still golf barefoot?
Actually, it's God made your feet, and there's a reason why you don't slip, and it works pretty good.
It's funny that you say that. Sean, I have a barefoot golf story. I was not barefoot, but I played in Hawaii. I was there with the wife, so I played solo. Played with another guy. He played barefoot. I was just gonna chime in. There's no slippage. There is
Really?
something about the natural grip of the earth, Sean.
Exactly.
We'll have to try it. We'll have to go up to Shoal Canyon and play on a landfill barefoot.
Maybe that's what's been missing in my game is going barefoot. I also saw this to me was almost as out of normal. There was you putt with a 5-iron. How did that start?
Okay, that's an interesting one. I actually got the yips, and I couldn't putt with a putter. I mean, it just was impossible. So I had played one club golf growing up, and I always just played with my 5-iron, and so I can kind of take it where it takes my hands out of the putting, and I putt pretty good.
I was gonna say that's considerably harder. I mean, it's an impressive thing to do. Anytime I see anyone putting with an iron, it's like, oh man, there's no way I could do that.
Well, if you're forced to do it, you'll do it.
I guess it's training.
Well, I also like the kind of superstitious nature of it. Of like, hey, because that's something I would do in golf. If I do something once and it works, I'm sticking with it. He had the yips. He found a solution. He's not going to mess with it.
I do have a 25-year-old golf club in my bag because it just feels nice.
Yeah, no, I hit the hybrid club for like every other shot. Coach, you over the years you've coached a number of big name quarterbacks. Your Warren Moons. You coached Tua at an early age.
PJ Walker,
Jim Kelly,
Walker,
yeah.
Jim Kelly. Would love to get your thoughts. We just had the NFL draft not too long ago, but any thoughts on the current quarterback class? Caleb Williams obviously catching a bunch of hype, but where do you see these current prospects? How do you think they'll fare this year?
Well, I think the kid from USC is going to probably struggle a little bit with an NFL system, even though he had so much great success. I don't know that he's reading coverage and the coverage dictating where the ball goes. I think it was more of a RPO type offense that he had. The guy that I think will have the most success is the kid from Michigan that went to Minnesota. He was basically in the type of system that he will be asked to play in when he gets to the pros, and I think his accuracy was really good, and he can make all the throws. So kind of like him the best of all those guys in the class this year.
Wow, I enjoy that take, and yeah, no, that's interesting. JJ McCarthy, you got number one, or at least this year you like him in that Minnesota offense. Which the run and shoot, you were a big part of that, popularizing it in the NFL. If you had one team, if you could go back right now, be an NFL head coach of a team, is there an offense with their talent, their skill set that you think would match your system? Like, who would you really like to coach if you had a shot here going back in the NFL? Is there a team that stands out to you?
Well, I think the speed of the Chiefs is pretty incredible. Even though they lost Tyreek, they still replaced it with speed. And I think Miami. I think I would like to coach both of those guys, Tua and KC. What's his name? Andy Reid has done a great job with Mahomes. And I loved him coming out of college, and anticipated that he would be that guy.
Last time you were on the show, I thought you said you had worked with Tua some while he was in high school. How has it been watching him? And he led the league in passing yards last year.
Yeah, I followed his career. I did have him in high school. I coached his brother Taulia at Kapolei as well, and I think Tua has blossomed into an NFL type quarterback. I think that's why Nick Saban put him in the game, in that national championship game, because he knew that it was time to throw the ball, and that Tua would make the throws that he needed to make. In fact, the touchdown pass at the end of the game there that he threw was a play we called divide, and Tua has ran that play 1,000 times, and he knew exactly what to do with the ball when the corner collapsed.
I'll be. Do you think there's now when we're taping this, Tua hasn't got his new deal? It seems like he's kind of in line. We'll see what the Dolphins end up doing here as far as getting him paid. Do you think there's maybe like a weird bias against Tua because he's left-handed? I'll be honest. Like, I saw a highlight reel of Tua where they flipped. The way he was, like, they flipped the video, so it made him look like he was righty, and it to me, like, it was way more pleasing on the eyes. Is there something inherently that people are more judgmental on him because he's left-handed, or something about his release where it creates some sort of criticism against Tua?
That's I've never been asked that question, but I think you're probably right about it. I know that me personally, I don't particularly care to coach left-handed guys because they got to reverse everything for them. And finally, I just tell them, listen, I'm going to talk right-handed. You got to turn it around.
You figure it out on your own.
Figure it out on your own.
I'm a lefty, but I throw righty. It's a weird thing. I write lefty, but yeah, I don't.
And you golf barefoot now.
Yeah, well, I will be, especially if I get out to Hawaii there. So yeah, I think there kind of is something there. Digging around, I saw, I'm a fan of the Eagles, and there's always a lot of chatter like, hey, are they not, OTAs are happening, and there's always this mindset of like, you need to go super hard and practice. We need that old school physicality mindset. You were an early adopter of not going, or I read an article, and feel free to correct me, but they said that you were never one to have a bunch of full contact practices. What was the mindset behind that, not having full contact practices?
Well, the mindset was that you can't afford to lose your starters.
Yeah.
And, when the schools that I was coaching at, like in Hawaii, for example, if we had a guy that could play in the National Football League, we can't be losing him in practice.
Yeah.
So we didn't go to the ground and tackle, but we, did all the fundamentals that we needed to do so that when the game started, the kids knew exactly, what to do. And it was injury driven, and the pros, it was salary cap, driven as much as that, because a lot of teams. If you go to a team, which every team I coached in the NFL was the worst in the league when I got there. You know, the Oilers were the worst they'd ever been. The Falcons were the 2 and whatever, and so that you had to start from scratch, and so we couldn't afford to lose. If we did have good players, we couldn't afford to lose them.
So what is that move? You talked about like showing up to these franchises that needed a rebuild or a pivot or whatever. What was your go-to move to start that culture change to get guys thinking that things can be brighter?
To get a quarterback.
Yeah. Okay.
Fortunately the Oilers had one, but they were getting ready to trade him because he had played 4 years for him already, Warren Moon, and the owner didn't like him. He's giving him all that money, and I had competed against Warren in Canada when he was at Edmonton, and I knew he could play, and so putting him in our offense, of course, turned his whole career around. He made the Pro Bowl and broke, I think, every passing record there was. And same thing when I went to Atlanta. They had a quarterback there, but he hadn't performed very well, named Chris Miller. And Chris ended up making the Pro Bowl for me, and probably was one of the most accurate guys that I had. I tell this stat. I want to say, in his first year in our system, we had a wide receiver named Michael Haynes, and Michael caught 14 touchdown passes that year. And the average of those 14 touchdowns was 44.3 yards per touchdown. So that gives you an idea of how Chris Miller threw the ball. We had 90-yard touchdown, 98-yard touchdowns, 80-yard touchdown, but it was a lot of Chris's accuracy along with Michael's speed.
Yeah, we need to draft him for fantasy this year, Ryan. Write his name down. We got to get him on the radar.
Now, Coach, I was curious. We were good friends with Mike Leach, and obviously, we lost him way too early. And I was curious because it seems like the more interviews I do with coaches, I just interviewed Dan Hawkins last week, and he was bringing up that he was good friends with Leach, and I was like, I didn't even realize that. Did you have any run-ins with Mike Leach? What was your relationship, if so?
No, it was good. We talked all the time. In fact, I sent many players to him and guys that I thought could play in Hawaii when he was at Washington State and other places he was, even when he was at the last stop at Ole Miss, at a couple. And then I took a couple of his kids that when I was in the pros. But we ran a lot of his stuff, and he put in some of our stuff. And he came to see me in 1984 in the original USFL, and he was at that time at Georgia Southern, I think, or
Valdosta, I think. Valdosta,
and,
yeah.
He wanted to know what we were doing, and so we for the next 50 years almost, we were friends.
Yeah, and I imagine you probably did. You probably talked a little football and a lot of Bigfoot or a lot of something. Coach Leach, I feel like you call
whatever Bigfoot on Hawaii.
I'd call Coach Leach to set up an interview, and next thing you know, I'm talking great white sharks for 45 minutes. But yeah, I imagine you had a lot of that.
That's actually a great transition, because I'm gonna take a leap here, and maybe you've hosted Coach Leach on the island, maybe you haven't, but let's say someone's headed to the island or one of the islands for the first time. What is one of the things that you got to do on Hawaii to kind of see and feel and understand what it means to be there?
That's a good question. I think, to be quite honest, if you're traveling to the islands, that go to the outer islands, when you get to Waikiki, which is where probably a travel agent would send you, it's more like Miami Beach. You really don't get a feel, for the islands. Where you go to Kona or go to Kauai or go even to Lanai, it's old Hawaii, and you kind of discover why you live here. I think I live in Oahu right now only because my buddies all live here. I live in Kahala, but I don't go down to Waikiki but maybe once a year. and I stay on the outskirts and try to live that way.
I gotta be honest, Coach. You sound like our people, at least my people.
Yeah.
Stay away from the crowds. Enjoy life.
I read an article that you invested in real estate in Hawaii in the 1980s. Is that true?
Yeah, as far back as the late 70s.
Nice work.
I went to college here. I bought my first place, I think, in 1977 or 78, and I've just turned it over. I made, obviously, from you buy and sell, you make a lot of money. And
Colby's just looking for a place to crash.
Yeah.
You got apologies. He's trying to
maybe a studio, a college experience studio down in Hawaii.
He's trying to find. Hey, got any extra couches?
He'll volunteer to watch tape for you, as much tape as you need watched.
Coach, you mentioned quarterback situation. You mentioned the Atlanta Falcons, obviously a head coach there, a couple years, and along with the rest of your NFL resume. Get your thoughts on the Falcons' current approach to the quarterback situation. They sign Kirk Cousins in free agency, pay him obviously a ton of money, big guaranteed check, and then they also use the number 8 pick to draft Michael Penix. What did you make of that move, and what's your take on Penix's future in the NFL?
Well, I think he's a very accurate passer too, and I think I got a little bit of that left-handed talk when I talk about him. But I wasn't completely sold because I don't have the same feeling like you say. I'm just that way. I don't want to coach a left-handed quarterback, but I do think he's a winner and he's accurate. So with that combination, he's going to end up probably being that guy in 2 or 3 years. I really am a Kirk Cousins fan. I like what he did. I thought he did good at the Redskins. I thought he did good at the Vikings. And I would say over the next couple of years, he will be the guy and let Penix kind of, get his feel and get going. So from that standpoint, I think they took care of themselves for a number of years to come.
Yeah, we were watching, and your talks about you mentioned passing accuracy. We were watching an old clip of you. It was discussing, the Colt Brennan versus Tim Tebow, and you were pointing out you didn't think Tim Tebow was a natural passer, and there was some pushback, and there was from the other hosts, and certainly congrats on that take because as time will show, Tim Tebow not a natural passer of the football.
No, he wasn't, and I was just trying to get Colt into the Heisman talk.
Yeah, I'm sure
it would do that.
I'm sure Colby voted. If Colby
he
had
sold me, yes, 100% with those stats he was putting up. Speaking of Hawaii quarterbacks, Timmy Chang's entering year 3. You coached him. It's one of your guys. I know that there was speculation of them hiring you, and then whatever ended up happening in potentially the second hiring of you at Hawaii. But Timmy Chang, I thought, has done a good job considering what he walked into. What do you make of him going into year 3 there with your old alma mater?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I just said a minute ago. They have a quarterback, and I think he's an NFL quarterback, maybe one of the better ones in the country. And so from that standpoint, Hawaii has a good chance of improving. This kid Schrager is 6'2", 6'3", 215, 220, and he can throw the deep ball as accurate as anybody. I've been to their spring practices, I think, and now that Dan Morrison's there, who ran, was with me for 30 years, is helping him be the quarterback receiver guy, that I think they got a shot to be pretty good.
Yeah, I think they could be a bowl team this year, and I think they got the
over under 4.5 wins. No respect.
Oh, take the over
Rainbow
on that.
No
Take
respect. That's not much.
Take the over on that.
I saw Sean was rapidly writing down bet on Hawaii.
Well, yeah, I mean, when Coach Jones gives you a lock, Kramer, you don't stare a gift horse in the mouth.
One other thing I wanted to ask you, I don't even know if I feel like, we were friends, or we are friends. I talk to him still to this day, with the great Nick Rolovich. And I think he's been proven with time more and more that, he was in the right, and we shouldn't care about, essentially his decision there. That's a personal thing. I want to see this guy coaching college football again. I think he's a great coach. I think, or football in general. What do you think about your former quarterback Nick Rolovich and the chances we can get him back coaching again professionally or within college or something?
Yeah. Well, I tried to get him hired, and I did get him hired at my old job. He was the offensive coordinator. Jim Haslett hired him and made him the offensive coordinator. But then when the merger happened, he didn't get back on. You know, they didn't go to another team, and it's probably because of what you said before. Whether you agree with it or not, they just have X'd him out. I think he's helping coach at Marin High School in Larkspur, right north of San Francisco there. And I think he'll get back in. It's just a matter, of somebody that he's worked with, like myself, getting him in again. And that's what it's going to take.
He's too good of a coach.
Imagine you're one of these kids just going to high school, ho hum, and you got Nick Rolovich coaching you up. I mean, it's great. It's these stories. Come on.
Yeah.
Let him let him coach. We need a shirt, Sean.
Yeah, I was not coached by any coaching legends in high school. It was a guy who did landscaping during the day and yelled at me in the afternoon. Coach Jones, again, appreciate the time. Before we let you go, just you've been involved in the USFL, XFL, CFL, college, pro football. I know you follow all the leagues a bunch still. Is there one player you're really looking forward to keeping an eye on this fall? Is there one guy on your radar that just as a football fan you're excited to watch?
I watch them and like them all. Jeremiah Mazzoli is at Ottawa, and he's had 2 years of injuries. I'm anxious to see him come back and throw it. I thought he was one of the best quarterbacks I've ever coached. So hopefully he'll be fine with injuries. There's a young kid that I just texted that nobody believed could play, and I talked Hamilton into putting him on the neg list, and they signed him before camp. His name is Harrison Frost, and you're just gonna have to look him up. He went to Auburn initially. Anyway, he showed up a month late for me the last time I was in the XFL at Seattle, and I couldn't believe how accurate he could throw it. So Hamilton signed him, and he played the preseason game last week, and he made their team. He was 24 of 32 for a couple hundred yards, and they called me and said, "You were right about this kid. He can play." So I'm kind of anxious to see how he works himself into to playing.
And he's behind your former guy, Bo Levi Mitchell.
Yes, he is. And in fact, Bo was there when I was texting him, so we kind of got caught up a little bit.
I started calling Coach the puppet master over here. I like how we listed off all these leagues, and you have just eyes for the CFL.
Well, it's starting this Thursday. That's why
I appreciate
it's a seasonal thing.
We got to go all the way to Hawaii to get our CFL takes.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, Coach, always appreciate you coming on. Appreciate the time. Give him a follow on X at Coach June Jones. Coach, I'm sure we'll be hearing from you. And again, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
I look forward to talking to you guys, and I enjoyed it. You guys have a good one.
You too.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah.
Can you do a station ID for us? Can you say this is June Jones? You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Okay. What is it again?
SGPN.
SGPN.
And let it ride.
Let it ride. Okay, if I can remember all this.
I got you.
All right, this is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to K.
No. SGPN. You're good though. You're good. Look,
I told you I forgot it. All right, this is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Hell yeah.
Perfect.
Appreciate you, Coach, man. Always a pleasure.
Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Have a good one.
You too, Maloa.
Maloa.
Fucking Howley.